Goldfinger came out, I was 14. I grew up in a little farm town in Illinois. My parents actually went to the show the night before to make sure it was okay for me to go see it. I went the next night. I can remember the name of the 14-year-old girl that sat in front of me. I mean, it was pretty memorable.
1964 Goldfinger in the cinema. It was a double bill playing with a movie called Goodbye Charlie. And the babysitter took me and a little friend of mine. We went, and Goodbye Charlie was the first movie. When Goldfinger started, up until the point where you see the cabaret dancer in the bathtub, the babysitter grabbed both of us young boys by the hair and yanked us out of the cinema. But I went home and told my dad, and my dad brought me back the next day, and it became an annual ritual that whenever a Bond movie would come out, my dad and I would go to the movies together to see it.
What really got me into it was discovering some of the original books at a school book fair and discovering they were very different from the films, but very, very excellent. I'm still more of a fan of the books than the films.
My family, I was born and raised in Mexico. Moved up here just in time for Goldfinger. So Bond meant nothing to me at all. I'd never heard the name. But my friends in the neighborhood went to see the movie, went to see Goldfinger, and I went in there not knowing who Bond was, and it came out having an experience that changed the rest of my life. Shortly after that, they came out with, just a couple of months later, they came out with a double feature of Dr. No and From Russia with Love, and then Thunderball came out. So within a period of about 18 months, I saw 4 James Bond movies. It was incredible.
When I was growing up, my dad had all the paperbacks, and the paperbacks had some great artwork of lovely ladies on there, and those paperbacks attracted me to the Bond books, because I was too young to see the movies once they came out. I had to catch up on those. So I started sneaking a read at the books because they were, adult content.
My father took me to go see Moonraker 40 years ago when I was 8 years old. Completely loved it. Saw a couple of other James Bond films on TV, and then my dad came home from work one day, and the bookstore in his building had the James Bond films by Stephen J. Rubin, so he brought that home, and then I was hooked after that.
About when I was 10 years old, and back home we were watching the ABC Sunday night movies when the Bond movies were coming on. My mother really got me started into Bond because she had all the Fleming books.
My mom took my brother and I to see Live and Let Die and Westworld. It was a double bill in the summer, I guess, in 1973.
My mom actually introduced me to James Bond. And I went to a double feature when I was probably 11 or 12. I wasn't old enough to stay up and see both of the movies, but I got to see Goldfinger one night and then Live and Let Die the next night, and I was hooked.
As soon as I was born, there was no question of this 5-disc DVD player, and it was always loaded up with at least one dinosaur video for me and then one James Bond film for my dad. Saw one, I was like, this is awesome.